Welcome, everyone, to Krypton to Alderaan, the podcast that has spoken.
Get it?
I'm Joey, and with me is Royce.
Hi, podcast.
Robin.
Hi.
And Lorelei.
Hello.
Woo!
We're all here.
Lorelei is back.
We got the band back together. Now we're going to play instruments instead of talk
We've
about...
settled our creative differences for the anniversary tour.
Yeah, this is our goodbye tour. No, please keep listening. We'll be back in 2 weeks. If you'd like to get in touch with us, please reach out at Krypton Alderaan on Twitter or at kryptontoalderaan@gmail.com. I should really start doing the Gmail one first because I always get tripped up with the
tricky.
ats.
It's tricky.
There's too many
One has an ad
ats.
at the beginning, one's in the middle.
I know. Just make that a different thing. Be like +sign Krypton Alderaan on Twitter. I was going to say at Twitter. Anyway, that's where we are.
That's where we are.
What I've been into this week, I'm going to say a few different things. First off, Lorelei and I, in anticipation of The Rise of Skywalker, watched The Phantom Menace. And we're only like 8 episodes into this podcast. But when we started, I was like, here are the Star Wars movies I don't like. And then I started listening to Ken Napzok's book, and I was like, you know what? He's right. It's all good. It's Star Wars. And then we watched The Phantom Menace, and I was like, this is no good. It's almost unwatchable.
And it's long.
It's super long. It's like 2 hours and 15 minutes. It is
too long.
It is almost incomprehensible. And there is so much objectively not good content in the movie. I mean, this is not a revelation for anybody, but it's just like in a 2 hour and 15 minute long movie, there might be 15 minutes of good content, which obviously is not a good ratio.
Man, this is a tough review. When was the last time you saw it before this time, though?
I feel like I might watch it every year.
We watched it like 6 months ago.
Well, we
or something.
started it, I think. I don't think we finished it.
Both got bored.
It's boring. It goes on for too long. And it's like all the Star Wars movies are about the same length. But this one you get bored because it's no good. Man.
Well, there's a lot of talking.
There's a lot of talking. And this is famously, I think, when George Lucas came out and said that Star Wars was for kids. And it's like, okay, well, this movie is about the Trade Federation and taxes and signing what are they trying to get Queen Amidala to
taxation
sign?
trade treaty.
And anyway, it's all part of my point is, what I've been talking about a lot, especially within the past couple of hours with all of you, is that the Clone Wars is just a much better show for this kind of thing than this movie is. Man, and everyone loves Qui-Gon Jinn. And I assume it's because of all the extended stuff that led off from this movie, because he's just a big old jerk in this movie.
He does whatever he wants, though.
He's even a jerk to Obi-Wan. And it's horribly inconsistent. I feel like this is the movie, this is what Star Wars would have been, like the first one, if George Lucas wasn't kept in check. Like I think we've talked about on this podcast, the story is that George Lucas had a draft of Star Wars,
right,
and no one would buy it.
Right.
And then he went back to the drawing board and might have gotten help from his wife, and then they made Star Wars. And this, I think, is just him off the leash. He's chewed through the leash and he's just running around the streets, and this is what his brain produced. Yeah. Which is a bummer that they wouldn't let him make this the first time, but that they let him make it this time.
So, didn't enjoy it.
Did not enjoy.
What about Lorelei? Did you share the same opinion?
I think we share. I don't think Qui-Gon bothers me as much as he bothers Joey.
This is the first time I really realized what a jerk he is. Okay, for example, it just might be because of the inconsistencies of the movie. It can't keep up with itself. The movie doesn't know what it said 5 minutes ago, and it contradicts itself. But in the opening scene of the movie, Obi-Wan's like, I have a bad feeling about this, and Qui-Gon's like, I don't sense anything. And Obi-Wan's like, no, in a greater scheme going on. And Qui-Gon's like, you need to stay in the moment. And then half an hour later, Qui-Gon's like, I sense a greater thing at play here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at it from the dialogue perspective, you're like you said, they don't remember what they just said.
Exactly. Or he's just being a jerk to Obi-Wan.
I think if you're going to appreciate the prequels, you just don't look at it that closely. You know what I mean? There's just more world building, and there's a little bit of the lore. Ignore all the politics. Ignore the wacky characters. Ignore the dialogue.
That's the movie. I understand what you're saying, but that's the whole movie.
Yeah. Couldn't pull anything positive from it, huh?
I pulled a few positive things. There's some good stuff, I think. I mean, the pod racing scene is just total garbage nonsense.
It's
the whole
fun for
time.
like 2 minutes.
It goes
They
on
needed
for
to
way
win
too long, and it's
money
just,
or the engine. There's a better way that they could have figured that out.
you could have just, I mean, and Qui-Gon Jinn cheats at the dice rolling thing, and
But okay, so Qui-Gon, I don't want to go off on a tangent.
well,
but
we
could
were already like 7 minutes
super
in,
long
and all
about
I've talked
Phantom
about
Menace. You started it. But, dude, I think the thing that's cool about Qui-Gon that my older brother Rob pointed out to me is he doesn't like give a shit about what the Jedi are supposed to do. He kind of just like flies by the seat of his pants.
Absolutely.
And he's like, I'm going to cheat because we need to win this engine. And, oh, don't tell the queen that we're doing this. And
Right.
I like that about Qui-Gon. And then Obi-Wan says, you'd be on the council if you just did what they said. And he's like, you want to be on the council, dude? Those guys are lame.
They just sit around all day.
Haven't you been watching
yeah.
this movie? They just talk all day.
Right. Yeah, I agree. But it's just like, I don't know what my point about the pod racing scene is just Sebulba's.
Too long.
It's just bom, 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 and then phew,
But it
and then
birthed,
bom,
like,
bom, 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 bom.
One of the best Star Wars video games ever, though.
Yeah, so that's
Racer.
what I was gonna say that too. Like, okay, well, the game is better than the movie. But anyway, I have a bunch of other points to make, but I'll just skip to the next thing, and I'll cut it down to 2 things. So what else I've been into is Jedi Fallen Order. I was playing some Jedi Fallen Order yesterday after it came out, and it does a really good job at, I mean, it's just specifically set up to build the world. So there's some like gameplay stuff that I don't really like, but I'm very interested in the storyline and the expansion of, the canon and stuff like that. So I'm digging it. I just need to set it to easy and get through it because there's some gameplay stuff I don't like. But yeah, it's good. It's getting, I hope it doesn't get trapped. Like, it's opening up a storyline that was touched upon in, I think, the Clone Wars. Not Rebels. I think it was touched on in the Clone Wars, and they never went anywhere with it. I'm only a little bit into Jedi Fallen Order. I only played yesterday. I'm hoping it expands on that storyline and doesn't sort of end setting up a sequel and doesn't expand on it as well. And I think that The Mandalorian might be following a bit of the same storyline. But we will get to that. Also, I said I'd say up front, this should be spoilers for everything, including all of this, what we're into stuff.
You just spoiled the Phantom Menace for me, man.
Spoiler alert. It's no good. So spoiler alert going forward. Like, we're going to talk about what we're into, and I feel like that may contain some spoilers, and then we're going to talk about The Mandalorian, and we're just not going to hold back.
Sure.
So, all right, that's it for me. What do you got?
Woo! So I'll go on a completely different tangent, and hopefully not a tangent at all, a different trajectory, but I'll save us some time doing some crazy ranting about nerd stuff.
Oh, man.
This week I'm into live music. Last night we went to see Jimmy Eat World
No way.
in Poughkeepsie.
I had no idea.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it was a good show. And this band Pronouns opened up the show. Similar kind of music if you're into them.
Pronouns, huh?
Yeah.
Pronoun singular.
Pronoun. Yeah. And they were good.
Just one.
Yeah.
They were 3-piece with female vocals, guitar, bass, drums. Good stuff. Show with just 2 bands, like literally just an opener and the headliner. That was it.
Done
which
by
I also
10:30.
appreciated. Done by 10:30. So, I mean, if you like Jimmy Eat World, you're probably like, approaching the age where you're not going to be, you don't want to be out too late, even on a Friday night.
Yeah.
But spoiler alert for anyone that is going to see Jimmy Eat World on this current tour that they're on, they just put out a new album.
Dude, I already gave a spoiler alert.
Yeah,
warning.
but so I'm reiterating. I'm just giving the fans what they deserve. They came on for their encore, which they didn't like leave the stage. They were like, we're going into our encore right now, which I also appreciated. No bullshit.
Yeah, he said something like, anyway, that was our last song and this is our encore. We're going to assume that you guys want more. So
Nice.
That was
who
so
knows?
funny. But then they went into playing a cover of Andrew WK.
Party hard.
Party hard. Let's get a party going.
Huh.
And I just thought that was very like out of character for
I loved it though. It was
for
awesome.
Jimmy Eat World. The people in front of us were more stoked for that cover song than they were any other.
The guy in front of us was watching
Original
football
song.
on his phone.
If someone was looking at memes and like watching TV during the show, the band's in front of you. Can you imagine?
No, that infuriates me.
Yeah.
But what are you
They were
going to do?
very distracting.
Yeah. So anyway, I had a professor in college say that if you want to like stay sane, you got to go see live music. Like that's just one thing that you have to go and experience.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we went to see them. And that's what I've been into.
All right, cool. Robin,
I don't want to get too spoilery with it because you guys haven't seen Rick and
I
Morty,
have
right?
to edit these sound effects out. I have not seen the latest episode of Rick and Morty, no.
So I don't want to get too spoilery, but the new episode of season 4 came out, first episode, and I was pleasantly surprised because I wasn't a huge fan of season 3. I feel like they phoned it in just a little bit. But the first episode so far of season 4, I was very surprised and very excited about it. I thought they did a really good job. And I think it's not too spoilery to say they go through different iterations of clones of Rick. And that's kind of like the basis of the episode. And the way they did it was hilarious. I really appreciated it.
I want to spoil things.
All right.
Do you?
I have a question. It's
Yes.
question time. It's not really going to be a question now that I think about it. Blink 12 times if there is an evil Morty in the episode. She's not blinking at all. I'm not going to watch.
So there's one line of dialogue that I think is maybe not spoilery, but it's what sums up what they're going to do with the rest of the series or this season. They're like, we're just going to do whatever adventures we like, like whatever it is. It doesn't really matter, Sometimes we go to space or maybe we could just go see a movie. Or Morty's like giving this kind of tangent. That was my Morty impression.
This is a good one.
But they're
Are you
clearly
going to make it sound more like Morty in post?
I'll pitch it up or down depending on how much I nailed it. You could tell that they were like, crap, we have to do a new season and it's going to be hard to appease people and people are expecting things.
Well, they're
and all
only
the
doing
pressure.
4 episodes, right?
Right. 5.
They're doing 5 episodes now
taking
and
a
they're
break.
finishing this. But they have like 70 episodes. They're renewed for like 70
really?
episodes or
Really?
something. So it's like 7 more seasons of Rick and Morty that they're renewed for. So by the time we're 70, we'll be getting the final season.
That's funny.
This is like the longest in
They
between.
opened it up with that. They're like, it's been 700 days since a new episode.
It's insane. It's
Yeah.
been a very long, but they have a very high standard to live up to. You can't let the fans.
I think it was good, and they gave a wink and a nod to like, obviously they were like writing things and they had troubles or something, creative differences, and they kind of addressed that within like the meta nature of the show, and I think it was well conceived.
Sometime around when the episode came out, I was scrolling through Instagram and went to Dan Harmon's page. And it must have been from a while ago. I'm assuming they were writing season 4. And there was just like a cardboard box. And it says like Beeline Stories or something like that. And then it's just like folded up Post-it notes. And it's just like pretty shitty ideas that you definitely don't want to make the main plot of an episode. But like you will throw it in there because it's still funny, but it's also kind of garbage. And there's like several posts where people are just like pulling shitty plot lines out of a cardboard box.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that because a lot of them were funny that they were showing.
The way they phrase it in the episode, they're like, we're just going to fucking make a TV show and
they're
just deal with it.
They're kind of saying to the fans, like, listen, watch or don't.
Right.
We're going to do whatever we want.
Dude, I mean, look at this Star Wars stuff. It's hard to create like a linear line that is just perfect and never, wavers from what one person wants when there are millions of people watching the damn thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so far so good. I'm pleasantly surprised.
There's I like a lot of stuff in season 3. Like, I know there's some not good stuff, but I think that Evil Morty episode where he's like elected at the Citadel is my favorite Rick and Morty episode.
Really?
Yeah, I love that episode. So,
There's
and it doesn't
some cool
even
lore and stuff.
have either of the mainline characters in it. It's so good though. It's just so good. You like it?
Let's do a Rick and Morty episode.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Deal. Lorelei, on to you.
Yay!
What are you into?
What have you been into the past 4 to 5 episodes?
I was
You
just
got
thinking
some
about
catching
that
up to
because I
do.
was like, oh, what am I into this week? Really, what am I into like the last 2 months?
Yeah.
One thing I've been into, okay, I have 2 things. First thing was Joey's birthday. Yay!
Woohoo!
We threw a big party. It was Fire Festival themed. It was a good time.
What? Where did the Fire Festival theme come from? That wasn't explained to me. I didn't read that crawl.
I had never seen it.
We still
So-
haven't seen the...
No. I don't know. Someone just said it and
And we were
people
like, that
who
would be a great theme for a party.
I share a birthday with our roommate.
Chloe was watching it. That's what it was. She was
And
watching the documentary, the Netflix
She
one.
had seen it. So I think someone said to do it and then she thought it was a good idea and everybody else who had seen it thought it was a good idea. It was fine.
But it was funny.
Yeah.
We made grilled cheese.
Mm-hmm.
There were wristbands for entry. We did not charge people a lot of money. We didn't charge people any money, actually.
We did pick their pockets while they were there and drunk.
So that was fun.
Yeah.
One of the other things that I've been into recently is Queer Eye in Japan. we've all been watching. We watch Queer Eye all together as me and Joey and Chloe, our roommate. And it's pretty fun. This is the first time they've gone international. Do you guys watch Queer Eye?
No.
It's a very good show. It's
yeah,
very
it's
heartwarming
great.
and
What do they do on the show?
So it's
I thought it was like they fix people's fashion and
Well,
so that's like the old show
Yeah.
format, right? Where it was in the mid 2000s. They had this
Got it.
show where it was like a bunch of gay guys making over a straight guy.
Right.
And it was just like kind of boring.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's not just straight men that they make over, and it's much more about like helping them like find their way in life and not just being like, your clothes are ugly.
yeah. It's like getting people out of ruts and stuff like that.
But yeah, being in Japan has been interesting. There's like some parts where I feel like they're being a little bit insensitive. Like there's this one scene where they're talking to this woman and her mom has like hardly ever says I love you, and the mom explains like, oh well, it's just not really in our culture to say that, and it would like be embarrassing for her too. And they're like, tell your daughter that you love her, and it's like,
Yeah.
who are you to say like what they should be anyway?
Yeah.
But it's good.
Yeah.
It's heartwarming.
Yeah.
Always.
It's a good show. It's a good, heartwarming show. It's nice to watch nice television every once in a while.
Yeah, you have to have changes of pace.
Yeah. Yep. It gets a little clunky, I feel like, with there's obviously a translator that they cut out. So
Yeah.
it's like someone speaking Japanese
yeah.
and them smiling and nodding, but you know that they don't
They don't know
understand
what's
what that
going on,
person's
yeah.
saying, and then them speaking English and vice versa. But yeah, it's good. It's all good.
Sweet.
Yep.
You guys ever watch those Conan on Borders or Conan
Without Borders.
Without Borders?
No.
Yeah.
No.
You ever watch those? Conan will travel to some random country depending on whatever's going on in news/politics and do like a show from that country and like try to touch base with the natives and shed some light on lifestyles you wouldn't like normally know about. Like he went to Haiti after Trump was like, those shithole countries.
Oh yeah.
He's like, Haiti's a shithole. So Conan went there and was like, do you guys think you hear what he said about you guys? And like showed actual Haitian people doing their thing and shed some light on that. He went to Greenland.
When Trump tried to buy it.
Yeah.
He just goes to a country that Trump says in a sentence and then
Well, those are two examples. There's others.
That one was really good though, because he was walking around and he's like, I'm here to buy your country on behalf of America. President Trump sent me. How much do you want?
It's so funny. I love Conan. But it's like, it shows you these other cultures that you don't normally know. So I like that.
I think he took his assistant to Armenia. She's Armenian and he took her. Was that one of those?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that one.
I watched a clip of it, but I didn't watch that. I read the headlines.
I think-
her typical
Yeah.
Krypton to Alderaan.
But it's so funny you take these like American pop culture things and like, we're going to go to another country. And that adds like a total different spin to
Yeah.
whatever it is.
I think he's doing a new one soon. I got an
Well,
email the other day.
They were talking about it on the Conan podcast where they were like, we went to a country and we were going to do all this stuff, but then Trump said he was going to buy Greenland. We're like, we have to go to Greenland. So they like tabled the one that they were working on to fast track this like political thing that was only going to be relevant for like
For, like,
1
a
week.
week, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah, I like
that's
that. I think it's on
probably what they're
Netflix,
doing.
some of them.
I think so.
Anyway,
Good stuff.
that's a second thing that I'm into.
You want to go around again?
I really
Should we
like
go
the
around
Conan
again?
podcast. Yeah, let's go around again. It's good. Anyway, I'll cut this part.
Anyway, let's jump into the meat and potatoes here. The Mandalorian
The
premiered.
Mandalorian.
So let's start off this by saying let's maybe apologize for spreading misinformation in a previous episode.
About the Mandalorian?
About how many episodes would be released on
Yeah.
November the 12th.
I don't think that was misinformation. I think a lot of people were confused as what the schedule was going to be.
All right. Well,
Yeah, and I was definitely disappointed. I was hoping to watch like one or two.
yeah.
Yeah.
By the end of the first one, I would have watched all of them in one
Right.
sitting.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
Sorry if we screwed up your Tuesday night.
Okay. Let's get right into it. Should we start at the beginning? I feel like the beginning's a good place to start.
Yeah, okay. So there's been 2 episodes so far.
Yes.
As of recording this episode of
Right.
our podcast.
And
that
then
you're
the next
listening
time we record, episodes 3 and 4 will be
Right.
out, and we'll talk about
Right.
them then.
So let's
'Cause we
not-
can't talk about them now.
to. Right. So let's try not to jump ahead. Let's try to talk about it chronologically.
Yeah.
Because we could go off like
Anyway, so
several
the second episode ends with. All right. So
no crawl.
no crawl.
Just whatever
But-
that like 3D thing.
Yeah, the weird 3D thing. I mean, it's fine. Is that their new?
I guess that's like the Marvel intro.
Yeah. All right. So it starts with the Mandalorian going into that saloon.
Right.
Mandalorian walks into a bar.
Right.
You were waiting for that one.
I just came up with that.
That's so good.
And like he interrupts these guys who just want the glands of this other guy.
Okay.
They just want to take a
That's
bath
really
of meat
Sure.
with his glands.
Let's pause on that guy.
glands
They didn't give that
guy.
guy a name, the fish guy.
Yeah.
I did not like the fish guy.
Well, I'm not sure. He's supposed to because immediately gets.
He was just wacky. He was too zany.
Yeah. Maybe that's them saying. Maybe that's Jon Favreau saying, "Hey, wacky zany Star Wars." Nope. Carbonite. You know.
Okay, yeah. I'm glad that he didn't have more of a role in
Yeah.
it, that they kind of tie him
Nah.
up. But he was just, his dialogue and the way he just looked, that was a little weird for me. I kind of wish he was just a human or a Nemoidian or anything else. He was wacky.
All right. So it turns out that the fish guy with the glands is the Mandalorian's bounty, and he puts it in carbonite, which. Again, I think we touched on this last time, but I think it's very interesting that like Darth Vader invented this now used.
Why don't they make the carbonite like 3 inches thicker so you don't have to see their faces?
Well,
Maybe
yeah.
that's the point. That's how you keep track of who's who.
Well,
Right?
they do
It might
have
get
Well,
little
it's obviously meant for
identification
something
things
else.
on the side. They're like, "Yep, that's him, all right."
Right. But no, I think it's so cool that he's got a mobile carbonite thing.
Yeah. So he gets his bounty.
Drops the bounties off. You meet,
Carl Weathers can't pay him.
right, pays him in calamari.
Yeah. Fried
Tokens.
calamari, some marinara sauce on the side.
Mon calamari.
Yeah. What I thought was interesting, I'd have to go back and watch the trailers, but I thought he was in some of the trailers, like Mandalorian armor. So they either put that in the trailers and he gets it later,
Yeah.
or they put it in the trailers to make us think he has Mandalorian armor, but he
Well,
doesn't.
the Werner Herzog or whatever character told him that if you brought the bounty back, there'd be more of
Right,
that
exactly.
metal for him.
But
So
I don't
he
think he's
obviously
going to
brings
bring
it
that
back.
bounty back. I
Well-
don't think it's going to happen.
He gets the armor at some point, like you said, that's in other like trailer content that like he's got
Or-
a whole suit.
Or they did that like it was a classic Star Wars trailer thing where they put it in and it was a
Bring
misdirect.
the bounty back and get the armor. They've
I
already
don't think
set
he's
up the
gonna
armor.
bring
Cool
that
thing.
bounty
So,
back.
but that's what happens next. He drops his bounty off. He gets the Beskar steel or whatever that they keep in like nuggets.
And then he's gonna then he's gonna save the bounty back. He can't drop the bounty off.
You're jumping ahead.
All right.
One story plot at a time.
So
You crazy
but
bastard.
he does buy a piece of armor with that Mon Calamari money.
But then the
little
lady
shoulder
is
thing.
like, the excess will sponsor the foundlings. Like they didn't use the whole piece of steel to
Well,
melt
maybe there's
his
like
armor thing.
byproduct from the forging of it that
They're like deriving
yeah.
other elements from it or something.
Or you're making what piece of armor you're going to make out of this thing, and there's not enough to make another piece of armor, so it goes to
Yeah.
a foundling, which is apparently a Mandalorian orphan. Is that what we think? That's
Yeah.
my interpretation. of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
They're
Because he was like, I was a foundling too.
Yeah, it looks like the Empire was attacking his family, and they put him in a ship and sent him to Earth. Well, and then the planet exploded.
Yeah.
He
I
was
like that
raised
there
by
is-
the Kents.
That backstory is kind of cool. I was a little disoriented though when they were like smelting the armor and then they kept like flashing back. Like he was like, since you can't see his face, they have to like have him emote in other ways. And in that scene, he's flashing back to his childhood after saying like, the other foundlings will be sponsored. Yay. So they like strike the hammer. It flashes back dramatically. You can't see his face, but you're supposed to think that he's like he's tortured by his childhood, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what that was telling me at least.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and I think that will play a role in him not bringing that bounty to Werner Herzog.
Okay, I thought he got the piece of metal thing from the second guy.
Yeah,
He did, but
He
that's
did.
not what was. Oh, did he smelt that
He-
down? Is that what he smelt?
Yeah, so
He
he
got
like
paid
went to
credits.
the
You're right,
next
you're right,
guy.
all
He
right,
got
you're
the
right.
metal thingy. Then
So
he
what did
made
he
That was like
buy-
a
his
prepayment
paper.
for the other.
That was
job.
like he was like, "There's more where this came from."
Yeah, yeah.
Basically.
What did he buy with the Mon Calamari money?
I don't.
He used it at some point.
No, I think he gave it
them?
to the Mandalorian
All right, I
tribe.
fucked it all
Who
up.
made? The,
See, that's why I
fucked it
was
all
like,
up.
they were like, the excess will sponsor foundlings. I assumed it was like, I have metal. Can you make my metal the thing? Maybe you
Yeah.
have to pay them to smelt.
Yeah,
to do
sorry,
stuff
I got the
with smelting.
timeline wrong, but you're right.
Has Beskar steel been mentioned in other things? I've never heard of it before.
It might. I'm rewatching the Clone Wars animated TV show. It might come up in there because there's a lot of
Obviously, it's
Mandalorian
important.
stuff. None of the Mandalorians are ever wearing their helmets, though, in the Clone Wars TV show. So I don't know. But anyway, It might come up in that.
I think it's kind of cool. Like, it's like adamantium. It's a special thing, and they really value it. And they're like, it's ours. It's like our resource.
Right.
And the Empire has it. It's kind of cool. Maybe he just steals the rest of it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Or maybe he is doing other bounty stuff on the side and gets paid.
Other people have it.
Or maybe he starts stealing it. Yeah. I don't know. But okay, since I got it wrong, what's the next?
Well,
Let's back up because I skipped ahead. So he goes and he meets with Werner Herzog.
Werner Herzog is like, I have a couple of like shitty bounties for you if you want them. And
No,
he's like,
Carl
That was Carl Weathers.
Oh, it was?
Yes. See, we're confused. We should have watched it again. Carl Weathers, but Carl Weathers points him to Werner Herzog.
He's
He
like, there
goes and
is
meets-
one bounty, but it's not on a puck or whatever. A bounty puck.
The stormtroopers looked rough.
Yeah, I was wondering that. Like,
It's like polish your armor. What the
you
fuck?
don't think they like rinse off? Like,
Yeah.
it's got to be made of some easily washable material, right?
God, bunch of scrubs.
I did not notice.
Well, they're just really dirty. I also wouldn't be intimidated by them. Like, that's another cool thing about the Mandalorian is, like, again, you can't see his face, so everything has to be within his, like, motions. I'm surprised how much emotion they do convey with him just having a helmet. But I love the stormtroopers are like, we got you. And he's like, 4 against 1. I like those odds.
Yeah.
Stormtroopers.
So he meets with Werner Herzog's character and then a scientist. So when they're pointing their guns at each other, the scientist comes out, right? He's the one who wants the bounty for whatever reason. I'd really like to speculate on that once we get past the spoiler of what the bounty is. But it was really interesting because we watched it with a couple of friends of ours, one who knows Star Wars and one who does not. And the one who does know Star Wars said something along the lines of maybe he wants the bounty for good reasons to study it for good because not everybody who was in the Empire was evil, which I think is true.
I would guess the science people probably are not necessarily evil.
But so I think
seemed
it's
evil to
not
me.
true. It's not true that everyone in the Empire was
He was
evil
like
and
a
they brainwashed a lot of people
yeah.
and they convinced everyone that the Jedi were traitors and blah, blah, blah. But I think if you stay loyal to the Empire after the destruction of it, you might be evil. So then what? Then he gets the armor.
He gets the thing and he goes off to whatever this other unnamed. See, they don't name these planets, and maybe they do, but that's, I don't know where we are.
Yeah.
We were on an ice planet, and then we went to his home planet or whatever, the bounty planet.
How many planets have Jawas?
Getting way too ahead. But he goes to some other desert planet
Yeah.
to look for this bounty.
Right. And he meets.
And he runs into
We should really know the characters' names.
another character.
I have spoken.
But again, I don't think
that guy.
they don't name these planets, they don't name the characters.
They
so
don't,
yes,
but
we
the
can
characters
learn
do
who
have-
these are, but they
yeah.
don't say it in the show, so I don't think it's a big deal. The guy that looks like a pig,
Right.
played by Nick Nolte.
Right.
I have spoken.
Yeah.
That guy.
That guy.
Riding the Blurbs.
Blurrg.
Blurgs.
What'd you guys think about him?
I like him.
Lorelei?
He's a fun character.
I thought he was good. I think he's funny.
He's
Kooky.
like-
I like how he's like, I've tried to help so many people what you're about to do, what you're about to do, and all of them have died.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm going to help you anyway.
Yeah, he had a good heart. Robin.
I did not like him. I could do without him constantly saying, I have spoken.
They kind of want to make that a thing, but it's
Yeah.
a good line though.
If he says it like once or twice,
It's a
but he says
classic,
it a
like,
lot in the one episode.
Yeah, he says it maybe 2 to 3. Like if he just said it once, that still would have been great. And then if he says it like once every episode, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At like pivotal moments. But it's a great like farmer, like, nope, sun's going down. We're gonna pack it in for tonight. Like it just seemed like this is what we're gonna do, period. I'm gonna turn this car around.
It might be
This
how
Blurrg
the
around.
race speaks like Yoda speaks weird, and might just be how they speak when they're like,
Yeah.
this is obviously what's going to happen. I've spoken.
Right. Well, actually,
also
wait. I
like-
have one more thing about him.
Yeah.
His lip sync is weird.
It
He
is
must be
weird
a puppet,
trying
but
to
I
keep
can't.
up.
You have to not watch his mouth because
Yeah.
it doesn't look right. He looks
like-
cool, but when he speaks, doesn't translate.
It also seems maybe a little animatronic. Like there might be some moving parts in there that make it.
His mouth, like his chin goes up and down, but his lips don't like match the sounds that he's making.
Yeah. Because his lips are kind of separate, right? He's got these folds like this.
Yeah.
I folded my
that
lips.
You're making those folds into the microphone. Like maybe people can see
I wanted
them.
people to hear the gross noises that probably come from that maneuver. I also really like that he has knowledge. The idea,
He knows some stuff.
The premise is that he knows about the Mandalorians. Like this could be our view. If he sticks around, this could be our sort of insight into the Mandalorians as a people.
Yeah.
Like he could teach the viewer about the Mandalorians.
Yeah. I was hoping he'd be recurring. It doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. But
Yeah, maybe.
I liked him because
maybe it'll be.
that sold me in one of the other short previews that Star Wars posted on like Facebook or Instagram, and it was like his line, "I've never met a Mandalorian before," and I was like, that is the tagline for this show. Like, no one's met a Mandalorian unless you're a nerd and you watch all Clone Wars. Like.
Yeah.
Nobody else knows Mandalorian. Like, Russ is watching Mandalorian, and he asked me, he's like, what's the deal with Mandalorians? I'm like, it's a whole planet. Like, people
Warriors.
Everyone's being introduced to, like, this, not just the character, the Mandalorian, but, like, all the Mandalorian history, which seems like they'll go into in the show. But that one line of dialogue, I was like, ooh, I'm really in.
Yeah.
No? No one's ever met a Mandalorian. And this guy was like, I haven't. I see you here. And he's like, you guys have a reputation. You ride crazy animals, and you collect bounties. You kick ass. And take eggs.
You're getting way ahead. All right, so you say what happens next. Let's go around the room.
So he meets I've Spoken guy.
Yep.
And he's like, I'm looking for this thing. And he's like, no, they're over there. Those people are over there. Those like bad guys. I don't like those guys. But everyone that's gone over there dies. He's like, you won't make it there without your Blurrg. And then they have a little Blurrg training session.
I really like that scene.
Continuing on with the Western theme. It's like, oh, you have to tame the stallion in order to ride to the whatever.
I like that scene, though.
Why didn't he just
very,
fly over there?
Because
he has a freaking spaceship. You'll never get there without a Blurrg. And he's like, why can't we take a land speeder? Nope, Blurrg only.
I have spoken. But I really like that scene where he's like, your ancestors are the Mandalorians. They were the first to ride the whatever. And then he has like a very Hidalgo moment with the Blurrg. The Hidalgo or Crocodile Dundee, one of the two. Maybe Horse Whisperer.
He's like, be calm. And then he can
calm yourself.
I think the whole point of that was to help build more of the backstory where they're like, your people are like badass. Like, why can't you do this? Mm-hmm. I don't want to be. You're the fact checker.
I can't pronounce those names.
She checked facts?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a break from Blurrg training session. Carl Weathers plays Grief Karga. Said you were coming. Grief Karga is Carl Weathers' character. Werner Herzog is the client.
Yeah, I don't think they ever named him yet. I think they're saving that for a reveal. It's going to be like someone known.
And then Omid Abtahi, I don't know how to say his name. That's the Dr. Pershing. I assume that's the scientist guy. Nick Nolte as Kuil, as an Ugnaught moisture farmer. There you
the
go.
Ugnaughts.
Ugnaught. Let me click on it. Ugnaught, the race of workers and scavengers that appear in Empire Strikes Back. He's one of those pig people. He's one of them.
Bringing it all back.
All right, and then Taika Waititi is IG-11. Okay, so we're not that far yet.
No.
All right.
I forgot those names. Anyway.
Just now.
Doesn't matter.
Immediately, yeah.
We don't meet any of those people again throughout the episode, so don't matter. So they're on the Blurrg. He does the Blurrg training session. Mandalorians ride a great mythical creature. Mm-hmm. He's supposed to do it.
Taruk Makhtau.
Learns how to ride the Blurrg.
That's from Avatar.
And then he takes him to the place.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't take him all the way there.
He gets him pretty close.
There's there.
Oh, I did like he peers over the encampment of all the bad guys, and it's very reminiscent of A New Hope when they look over Mos Eisley. Mm-hmm. And Luke's like, what's that? And Obi-Wan does the scum and villainy.
Yeah.
It looked a lot like that scene.
Yeah, I think there's some homages.
Yeah. And then you get to the best part of the episode, in my humble.
The fight.
Where you meet IG-11 and they have a shootout. Yeah. Where they probably got all of, the non-Star Wars-y fans interested with some actual action. Because it was pretty slow up till that point.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't bored at any point. I was like really into it the whole time and not having any idea of where it was going to go. Yeah, he gets there and he and IG-11 start fighting, and then they decide to fight together against what are, I believe, pirates, like in the Star Wars universe, in the Clone Wars animated TV show, and then again in Rebels.
Okay.
This group of pirates shows up, and it's that species, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly.
Okay.
And so I'm really interested in how they got the bounty to begin with. I hope that that's something that's like why would they know?
Yeah. There's a lot going on there.
But we'll talk more. Obviously, we're going to get there. Does anybody else want to?
Yeah, you guys chime in about IG-11 in the shootout. Robin, IG-11, do you love him? Do you hate him? Should I get you the pop for Christmas?
No.
Why didn't you like him?
You were so
also,
excited
like
Taika Waititi.
Pretty sure he'll be back.
Oh, yeah.
I did enjoy that his go-to was like entering self-destruct mode. And he's like, no, stop self-destructing.
It's very Bender.
I really like that. Like that was a little bit of comedy in the episode that I really enjoyed.
I like that.
Yeah. The rest of that scene, I wasn't.
You didn't think he was badass? His movements and stuff. It was like,
Yeah.
that is an
he can
assassin
just, like, swivel
droid.
around and shoot at the same time.
They motion captured him or whatever. Like the way he moved was perfect. Where you're like, oh my god! Like if I saw one of those droids, you're like, you're in for trouble. Like everything was like, I'm laser focused. Pew 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 pew. I don't miss. I'm a robot.
Yeah.
Why would they ever miss?
Yeah, I liked it. No
No.
for you. What do you think?
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I also think that was probably my favorite part of the episode was their little dynamic where he was like, oh shoot, this droid like messed up everything. Now I'm gonna have to work with him and share the bounty.
Yeah.
It's also interesting because at the beginning of the episode, that land speeder comes and he's like, no droids, no droids. And they're like,
yeah.
he's fine. The droid will drive you fine. And he doesn't like droids for some
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
And it seems like people are speculating it's because of the Clone Wars. Like he doesn't like battle droids and
Right.
whatnot.
I
Like,
wonder
it
if that's what's
messed his home up,
attacking
maybe.
his home.
Yeah. So, which would fit with the timeline-ish.
Yeah.
And then he meets that droid and he's like, droids. And then he's like, you're not so bad.
Right.
But then
So anyway, he gets on a big-ass gun and they break into a building.
Man, I really like that scene where he like runs and jumps and spins the gun around and shoots all the guys.
Yeah, and he's like, you go cover fire. And like the IG-11 gets shot a couple times,
Yeah.
like covering for him.
He helps him
he's
up.
like a fearless robot. It's great, you know?
So yeah, then they get into where the bounty is, and he's had this little tracker the whole time that's pointing him
How
to
does
where.
trackers work?
I don't know.
Robin
dude.
said it's DNA.
Because it's not
But
like
how would they?
the bounties don't have like
thing in
GPS
there.
Why would
chips.
yeah? Why
on
would
them.
you have a tracker on you if
Yeah.
you're being on the run?
My guess
How
is
would
some
they have
kind of.
gotten this DNA?
None of that
know.
makes sense.
I think it's some kind of like biological thing though, where they're like
must be.
based on these components. This is probably.
But
what
But
he-
this
no one
thing is.
knows. The tracker's pointing to this white hovering. I don't know what's it the size of something.
Cradle.
a bassinet.
Yeah,
And they open it up, and then I was like, I think I know what's inside.
yeah. They designed it perfectly to be like it looks kind of like this other character.
Yeah, and so what we see inside, and okay, so
What did we know about what
we
it was
knew
gonna
that
be?
it was
Yeah.
50 years, that the bounty was 50 years old.
Right.
And so that was a big part of the, like, that's
Right.
all
So they're
the,
expected to find an old
Right.
somebody.
and it's a little baby Yoda.
Yeah, people keep calling it Baby Yoda, and people are like, they didn't tell you the timeline. There was no crawl. It's not 10 years after the Battle of
It's
Endor.
5 years after the
But they
fall
don't
of the
tell you
Empire.
that. And so, like, Russ was like, oh, it's Baby Yoda. And, like, they don't know. It's like, damn, Star
Did
Wars
they not
doing this
say it somewhere?
inside baseball again. There's nothing at the beginning of the episode.
I mean,
that
there's
says-
nothing there's no text that says it, but I feel like there was dialogue. Maybe not.
Dude, this is a problem with Star Wars, that they have to do a damn crawl for everything. And I saw a great YouTube video that was like, when you play every Star Wars video game, there's a crawl at the beginning. And
I don't
every
think for Jedi Order.
other frickin' thing in the Star Wars universe gets a crawl, but not Rogue One, not really Solo, and not this TV show. Just tell us in a paragraph what the fuck is going on. And that way, casual fans will be like, okay, I get it.
I know that I saw somewhere that it's 5 years, whether it was in the description on Disney Plus itself or whether someone
we
said
know,
it.
we know that. But Baby Yoda shows up and everyone's calling it Baby Yoda.
Also, the
that's gonna be
stormtroopers are
confusing.
really rugged, and I don't know. I mean, yes, but also it's Baby Yoda that's 50 years old.
It's a
but
Baby
this
Yoda
little baby
species.
thing, which
It's
no
not
one knows
Yoda.
anything up until now. There's no lore about Yoda's species.
No one knows what the species name
No,
is.
there's no name. There's no homeworld.
But
There's
there
no nothing.
is a second Yoda species in
There's
your
the
favorite Star Wars,
Yes.
Episode 1, The Phantom
Yaba
Menace.
or Yada.
Yaddle.
Yaddle.
A female Yoda
Yes.
species.
So you think
Yaddle.
that they did it as old and now they're babies,
There's
50
Yoda,
years old?
Yaddle, and something else with a Y. I don't know.
Yavin 4. When they just turn into planets. as
Yoda
they
Jr.
get older. Anyway, so there's this baby Yoda. Well, now I'm going to make another point real quick. There's not, like I said, there's like nothing known, which two things. This show, even aside from that, says that great, fresh, new Star Wars content can be made. Outside of the main storyline, I thought it was great. That's my review of the first episode, was that it was great. And they can make new canon with this, which is like, I think, incredible. Like, it's very interesting. Obviously, Yoda's one of the most interesting characters. And I think somewhere, for some reason, I either remember Yoda saying it or reading it somewhere, whether it was a book or a comic book, that they are an exceptionally force-sensitive race.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Does anybody have a recollection of that?
It sounds familiar, but I can't confirm. But
Yeah.
it obviously makes sense.
All right.
Anyway,
And
so
then touch back.
so there's a baby Yoda there, And then IG-11 is like, I'm going to terminate. And he's like, no, they pay more if you don't terminate. And he's like, my job was to terminate. And then they pan to the Mandalorian's helmet. You can't see his damn emotions.
I love that, though.
But then you hear a blaster shot. You don't see anything. And then they show IG-11 on the ground.
Yeah.
They're doing a lot of good character building, I think, with the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Without seeing his damn face. But you're like, I get it. He's not going to kill a kid. Well, maybe he wants the higher bounty anyway.
I don't think so.
I think he was like, this is too cool to let.
Something else is going on here.
Yeah, there's something else going on.
Well, because they said nobody knows about this.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be a secret.
There's just so much to talk about even at the end of the first episode. But the Mandalorian says he was a foundling. He's an orphan. Nick Nolte's character says, I've never met a Mandalorian before. Like, Mandalorians are seemingly rare, according to this episode.
Right.
And he finds this baby Yoda that he's maybe heard of, but has also never seen, that's seemingly an orphan. I think it's connecting. I think there's a connection.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to bring him in for the bounty.
And they had their little moment where he
touches his
little finger.
hand.
Go with your line.
I don't remember what I said.
You were like, Yoda, phone home.
Well, you said also.
I said
you
E.T.
I was like, that's like
Yeah.
E.T.
It was a
Was
very
okay.
what it
E.T.
is.
moment.
So
So we're cool. It's cool. That was a really amazingly designed cliffhanger for a first episode, and so cool that the next episode wasn't too long afterwards. Like the Disney machine.
they definitely did that on purpose.
Disney machine is in high freaking gear.
Yeah.
I don't know if that is that concocted though, or was it like, no, like you said, new canon. Is this a good story to tell with this new Yoda species in here, shaking things up? Or is that a ploy because he's cute and cuddly and everyone knows Yoda and people will just talk about it? Is that storyline going to pay off and build the canon for better? Or is it a porg? You know what I mean?
No, well, I do know what you mean, but I think that someone like Favreau comes in with an idea. These people, this is just my feeling, I guess, but some people come in to write Star Wars as fans and have an idea. Like it would be like if any one of us maybe went to Star Wars, went to Disney and said, I have an idea for a movie. My personal one would be a clone movie, a post Order 66 clone movie. Anyway, it would be like us going to them and pitching a movie. So I think that there was an idea there for what that species is and flushing that out because no one's attempted. Maybe there's some sort of legend expanded universe stuff.
I don't know if there's anything.
There's like nothing. I tried to research it. There's like nothing.
I think that's George Lucas's like, no, you don't get to know about Yoda. He's
Yeah.
just awesome.
So maybe they've now got permission. Maybe the story that they pitched was good enough to be given permission to do this with.
Either that or it's just a giant FU to George Lucas. Like, we don't
It
care.
could be both. I mean, I'm not opposed to giving him that after sitting through the Phantom Menace. I'm not opposed to.
Yeah. So I'm with you. I think it might expand the canon, but it's a little bit like, what's the best thing we could do to leave people on a cliffhanger that will like make people shit their pants, tweet about it? I saw so many tweets about it.
So that's like spoilery. I don't like that. Like
That's way too spoilery.
Yeah.
But it's the best headline. Like, can you believe what was at the end of the episode? It was another Yoda. What else could it ever be? You know?
Right. There's nothing that enticing. How did you both feel at the ending of the first episode? I'm going to go to Robin because I think she's going to disagree with us.
I like Baby Yoda as a character because I think he's like he almost kind of reminds me of how I feel about BB-8. I think he's like a tiny little badass and he seems like he's going to like potentially
Be the hero?
be the hero of the entire show. But seeing it at the very end of the first episode, my immediate thought was like, that was so easy.
They're playing on your nostalgias.
You had to go there. You couldn't have gone the entire episode without referencing.
They could have just not revealed it like Lost before you know it's Locke, in
Or
the
they could
coffin.
have just had the finger. They probably didn't need to show his face. They probably
Or they
could
could
have
have
just had that.
They sold us on buying this streaming service though. It was kind of be like they got to give us something
It would
at
have
the
been
end of the episode.
I think it would have been cooler if they had ended the episode where like the egg or whatever is like unlocking and then it just like went to the credits and
Yeah.
you're like, what's in the little
What's
egg
in the
thing?
box?
You still want to know either way.
Yeah.
But having the Yoda there gives it a little bit more of like talking point.
I think,
Yeah.
and it gives anybody who doesn't know or care about The Mandalorian a reason to watch,
Yeah.
right? Like, we were
Another
watching with
familiar
a friend
thing.
who like one who knew Star Wars pretty well and one who didn't. And it was just like, but what's the Mandalorian? Who like didn't know that, it's another planet. It's another like sort of story that we don't really know
haven't
about.
explained it yet in
But
the
like
show.
everybody knows who Yoda is.
Right. Like,
Let's just give
Yoda,
them-
he was a Jedi Master. Yeah,
Let's just give them names from now on. We'll use pseudonyms. Let's just call them Rachel and Greg. So we'll say that
For
Greg was
example.
the one who knew about Star Wars and Rachel wasn't.
It's true.
And so she knows who Yoda is, so it was appealing to her. I hope so. Anyway, Rachel, if you're listening and if that is your real name, tweet at us and let us know what you thought of the end of the first episode of Mandalorian, even though 2 of 4 of us were with you.
I wanted to see another episode immediately.
Yes. Yes.
And I
We
did
had to wait
think
3 days.
it was wicked. My full review of the episode, it was shorter than I wanted, but it was just enough that I wasn't bored of it, and they didn't do anything to screw it up as well. It was like it was a good amount of time, even though I was like, please be all day long.
Yeah.
You know? But they left it off at the cliffhanger. Like, I'm ready for the next one.
Right.
Word.
All right.
Also, rest in peace, Salacious B. Crumb's cousin, who was
Those
roasting
things
on
are
a
so
stick.
gross. What are they called?
Salacious B. Crumbs. That was
Is that
so
the
sad.
species name?
I think that's the
No.
character name.
Yeah, that's the
but
character's name.
Anyway,
but the
whatever that
species name is
species
something.
is. That was sad that there was one roasted and then there was one in a cage, and he was like, ah.
They're gross.
You didn't feel for him though?
No,
I
Kawaki
did.
and monkey lizard.
You're gonna have to update your
that is
t-shirt.
not what I was going to say.
Anyway.
So I guess I'm wrong. But
He is a monkey lizard.
all right, should we get on to episode 2?
Does anybody
Or-
have any
or
other
not?
recapping? I think we should do episode 2 because
Yeah.
there wasn't that much more to
I
really
just
go
meant, do
through.
you want to sit here in silence and then get into it, or anybody else? Anything about episode 1?
Were you dying to see
Are you
another
cold?
episode?
Oh yeah.
No, I was pretty set to never see another episode.
Like if that was the
Wow.
pilot period, you're out.
If especially if they like released it and then I had to like wait a couple months. If they were like, here's a teaser episode, I definitely would have been like, I don't ever want to see this again. It felt like it was 9 hours long.
If that was the culmination of the show and it was like a whole hour, I think I would have been disappointed because not a lot really happened, you know, and it was kind of slow. If you had to wait an hour for that and it was still the same amount of like plot points, I would have maybe been disappointed, but it was only 38 minutes. And I think that's plus the credits. So I think it ended at like 35, you know what I mean? So it's really shorter than any other like live action drama ever, you know?
I
think
like
it
that it's
flowed
short
really well.
though, because I don't want to sit and watch that for an hour plus.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes it work, but you still weren't even sold, even with it being only a half hour.
No, it felt very long to me.
Wow.
Goodness. But you love Baby Yoda, so
I like Baby Yoda more after episode 2.
sure. So let's get
Well, I have another
wait,
question.
yeah, okay, let's.
Do you have anything else to say about the?
I was sold.
Yeah.
I was like ready for episode 2.
Yep. Going back to IG-11. I think he's going to come back.
He's
I think
a robot.
there's
He
like.
can fix
yeah.
robots.
No, I think there's either fixing or there's
100 of
different
those
iterations
guys
of.
running around.
C-3PO gets blown to pieces in Empire.
So
they
is
bring
he-
him back.
Yeah, isn't he just like limbs and a head at one point?
And
In,
Chewbacca
a
like
backpack?
puts them together backwards.
Yeah.
Is that a thing for you?
IG-11?
Yeah. Couldn't really tell it was Taika.
You couldn't. I didn't even really think about it in the
Yeah.
moment. I was just like, this robot's kind of annoying. I mean, if he does come back, I think he's going to be the bad guy, potentially.
Dude, he wants the bounty,
Oh.
and he's pissed now. He's gonna be
hunt
pissed.
them down.
Yeah. All right. That brings me to another point that I think doesn't happen until the second episode. So let's get into episode
All right, episode or chapter 2.
chapter 2.
No
The
episode
child.
titles.
The child.
The child, who is called. How's it start? He's walking.
walking
He's
back.
just
Leaving with the
walking
Yoda.
back, and
He's got
he's
no way to get back.
he's like
in the
attached this
canyon.
bassinet to his wrist dongle.
Yeah, they didn't really. I mean, they showed him like directing it, but there was a lot of points. I'm like, it's just following him, and it's getting out of the way at the right moment. Is Yoda controlling it? Like,
There was a lot of setup to make us believe that at any point that baby was going to use the Force. It was
Yeah.
like there was like a lot of bait in
they're-
the
they're
episode.
camping
That was
out.
like, is he gonna do it?
they're
Is he
camping
gonna do
out,
it?
and he's fixing his blaster shot or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, he keeps going to touch him, and I'm like, is he just like, does he want to eat him or does he want to fix him? Also, it might be a she.
true.
Let's use the correct
Baby Yaddle.
pronoun. They.
They, sure. I mean, so they were all camping, right? Or they were like by the campfire, and Baby Yoda, kept getting out of the little bassinet and, putting their hand up in the air. And I definitely was like, oh, he's trying to, Mandalorian's getting pissed and is like, get back in your basket. And he's like, no, I'm trying to use the Force to fix your wound that you are incapable of fixing. And he's like, no, you're annoying. Get back in the basket. I'm closing the lid. But I think that was the first moment where you're supposed to be like, oh, he's trying to use the Force.
Yeah. But does the Force have healing?
I don't know. I didn't see it as that. I like that, but I thought he was just trying to be like, pick me up, daddy.
Well, I think that's what the Mandalorian was probably thinking.
Right.
I was definitely thinking like, oh, he's using the Force. Why else is he like...
Just like Joey said, they're setting it up. Like, is he Force sensitive? No, I think you're right about that. That was a good call.
He's also not trying to get away.
Yeah,
he doesn't
he's
really
like happy.
seem like a captured bounty target.
I don't want to know why those pirates had him.
Doop.
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing now.
No, he's very innocent.
Yeah.
Trusting.
They also, I think, focus in a lot on Baby Yoda when the Mandalorian is in a fight or violence is going on.
They cut to him every scene.
Is this gonna, but I think it's on purpose to be like, is this violence going to shape the destiny of this Baby Yoda? I mean, I don't know. He's 50 years old, but he's a very impressionable age and he's seeing like...
Someone did the math. He's 18 if Yoda was 900.
But Yoda's math is weird because in Attack of the Clones, he says he's 800 and then in Empire, he's 950.
You got to take into account...
Unless they experience
spatial
time
distortion.
Differently. Yeah. Anywho, they make it back to his...
1 hour here is 7 hours on Kashyyyk. 7 years on Kashyyyk.
Is that true?
I don't know. It's a little interstellar
on
for you.
Kashyyyk. He's fixing his wound. Baby Yoda's like, let me see. He's like, no. They make it back to his ship and Jawas have taken apart his ship.
What do you think of the Jawas?
In like a day.
Awesome or fan service?
I liked it. It didn't feel like fan service at the time to me, but I think that there are 1 to 2 people in the room that will disagree with me.
I like Jawas, so I thought it was kind of cool. Because are we supposed to think that we're like on Tatooine?
I don't know.
There just must be Jawas everywhere.
But it's a desert planet, and then that guy's there, and he's a moisture farmer, so...
Yeah, well, I think moisture farmers are
Jakku
prevalent.
had moisture farms too,
Really?
I think. Yeah.
But I think Jawas might just be an alien race that goes out to various
scavenger
planets and scavenge.
Okay.
Little silly though, like they have the same crawler and stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's their... What did they actually named it in the episode.
Yeah, what did he call it? He called it something.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought it was neat, but like, yeah, where are Jawas just everywhere? Are they like prevalent in the galaxy?
It was kind of cool backstory for them a little bit where you're like, oh, okay. So they see something and they just take it.
Yep.
So they took apart the Mandalorian ship and he's like, God damn it. I got to get my parts back. Like they gutted the ship.
Yeah.
He goes after the whole thing himself. Like that's his decision. I'm going to take on the entire Jawa race myself.
Yeah. So that was something I was like, you just shot the droid that was going to kill this baby. And now you're just kind of leaving it to climb on this thing.
No, it's okay. The baby was going to follow behind, just 10 feet behind.
He was floating behind.
Yeah, but there's like at one point, the Mandalorian's afraid he's going to get sucked into himself. The Mandalorian himself is going to get sucked into the treads. It's like, yeah, but there's Baby Yoda right there that also might get sucked. To what extent does this thing stop following you?
Yeah.
So anyway.
His first inclination wasn't like, I'll go get another spaceship or steal a spaceship. He's like,
but
I need
his
that
ship
one.
is fucking cool. I meant to bring that up in when we were talking about episode 1. I really like his ship.
So his ship is like a Clone Wars era ship or something? Because the guy was like, this is old. We're going to take this?
Yeah.
It's like an older model?
It's an older ship. And it's cool.
It's all right.
There's a cool part in Jedi at the beginning of the Jedi Order where there's a separatist ship. They like Jedi Order starts in a scrapyard. Anyway, so
Jawas have all his parts. They get away.
Yeah,
he's trying to get on the Jawa thing.
Nick Nolte's going to help him out.
He's like, you have to trade with the Jawas.
Yeah.
He's like, those are my parts, though.
Well, I love that scene when he actually confronts the Jawas and Nick Nolte's character is like, he'll trade you. And he's like, I'm not trading. They're my parts. Yeah, I like that a lot. And they
also, wait. We got to talk about his disintegrating gun.
I disintegrated
and he's like, these Jawas really
so.
don't like you. And he's like, well, maybe that's because I disintegrated a few of those.
Yeah.
And I think that's great because in Empire, Darth Vader says to...
No disintegration.
To Boba Fett, yeah. No disintegrations. And then Boba Fett's like, as you wish. So obviously,
but I'm not sure
Mandalorians
Boba Fett's a Mandalorian.
Well, he's a clone.
He is a clone.
But anyway,
maybe
that's part of their thing. No disintegrations. So they have guns that disintegrate people. Why wouldn't everybody have that gun? That's a great gun. That was freaking sweet.
I think Mandalorians keep their stuff to themselves, and to themselves.
Got it. Like, oh, you're a Jedi? Pfft, now you're nothing.
Yeah.
How do they not win every fight? Also, why wouldn't you use that on all the other creatures that attacked him?
Maybe it only works on a certain size.
Yeah, sure. You're right. That would make sense. It's too big to disintegrate.
Would be fun if they had a line like that, right? It's too big to disintegrate.
Oh, a small starfighter like that couldn't make it into deep space this far. That's a short-range fighter. It's space. It will float forever. I don't get it. Star Wars. So
Yeah.
he's meeting the Jawas, trading.
Right. They want an egg.
Yeah. He's like, give me
He's
the
like,
steel.
what
He's like, I'm not
egg?
giving you my steel. He said,
They
put down
want
your
the-
rifle. I don't put down my rifle. He doesn't want to play ball.
They want the baby Yoda.
Oh, yeah, they want the baby Yoda. He's like,
And
no
he's
way.
like, no.
Yoda's like, oh, you want to play?
Yeah.
Yoda's,
And,
Yoda's okay with it.
they might have just eaten him. Like, I don't know. Anyway, they want this egg or her.
They want breakfast.
It's really weird that they trade all those parts back
For an egg.
The
Well,
egg.
clearly they eat
Goo.
sand otherwise. Because I was thinking about this. Like, who are they selling these scraps to? Why don't you sell the whole spaceship, you dumb Jawas?
Yeah.
I have a spaceship engine for you. It used to belong to a functional space station. Like, come on. So he fights the whatever rhinoceros. Space
rhino.
rhinoceros.
Yeah, man, his shit gets fucked up. Like, you see him go into the cave,
It's like this isn't.
He's
and then
fearless,
he's
though.
flying out of the cave, and all, like, this, whatever the plate is on his chest is broken, and
There's like electronics in that.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
He was fixing that before too, right? There was a scene
Well, there was
by the fire where he was like fixing it, right?
the thing on his arm is busted. That's an electronic, like the thing that his flamethrower or his grappling hook, whatever you call that thing, shoots out
Oh
of.
yeah.
So I
wait.
like that. I like the technology built into the armor. I really like that as well.
When he was negotiating with the Jawas, was that the part where he was like, how about I flamethrower you in the face? I
Yeah,
forget
yeah,
what he
yeah.
says there, but there's a great exchange there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets fucked up by this rhinoceros. And again, there's this battle going on, and every time something seemingly violent happens, it just
Yoda's
zooms
watching
in
it.
on baby Yoda. It's like, oh man, I don't want this baby Yoda to be corrupted by all the violence in the world.
Well, he was clearly concerned. Like, he must feel for the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
If he's got
They
like
have a
force powers.
connection.
He knows he's a good guy, and he's like, this guy's gonna take care of me. He's not gonna turn me in for a bounty or whatever. He's safe with the Mandalorian from his eyes, I guess.
So I will say, like I said, I'm pretty certain that I've either heard or read somewhere that Yoda's race are extraordinarily force sensitive
Right.
beings. That being said, I thought that there would be concern because they kept baiting us in the episode. The first thought in my brain was that there would be concern that was fan service. If they made that Yoda have force powers, it would be extreme fan service.
Right.
So I didn't think they were going to do it. But then the Mandalorian is fighting the giant mud rhinoceros that lays fuzzy eggs.
Robin didn't like that either.
I was like, why the fuck is the egg fuzzy? It's an egg. It doesn't
And
make
rhinos
sense.
don't lay eggs.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's also weird. Yeah. Huh.
Why are they laying eggs?
It's a reptile, I guess. Space reptile. With a horn.
So it seems like the Mandalorian's just about to give his life to stopping this monster. Mandalorian's standing there with his little knife out, just like waiting, and the rhinoceros is charging him, and Baby Yoda lifts up his hands, and the rhinoceros stops and floats. And the Mandalorian's like, what the fuck? He doesn't say that, but
He's like, this is a good opportunity for me to kill this thing.
well, he looks behind it and sees that Baby Yoda's doing it and takes the opportunity to walk to the side of the thing. And then Baby Yoda faints because that's a lot of work. And then he stabs it.
I think
and
he
the
just
thing
fell
dies.
asleep.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what
that's
I
a
thought.
lot
But it
of-
was like, man, I am tuckered out.
Yeah,
Like
he gets,
kids do, you know? It's like
Yeah.
a puppy, just like
he's tired
Exactly.
from the Force use. I mean, that's a lot of...
Killed Luke at the end of Jedi or whatever. He was
Yeah.
like, I force projected myself. It was too much.
And I think, like, if you watch a lot of this stuff, Force abilities definitely, like, wax and wane. Like, some Force users can do a lot more than others. They can
Size
lift-
matters not.
They can lift big, heavy things, exactly. But they already know that. Like, he already is so much more in touch with the Force to be able to do that
Right.
than, like, anyone struggling to, say, move a boulder.
Sure.
But, yeah, just an incredible scene, and sort of all the thoughts of it being fan service went out of my mind, because I thought it was, like, a very
Well, it just made
well
sense.
done scene. It was very, like... emotional. Like the baby Yoda believes that the Mandalorian has been protecting him all this time, and they have sort of made this bond, and he saves him. And I thought that was
Yeah, I think
really
the Mandalorian's going to owe him for that.
Dude, I don't think he's trading him in.
No, you're selling me on that. I didn't really think that through, but he gets that armor at some point, so that's another point.
Baby Yoda uses the Force, passes out.
And then they give the egg to the Jawas, and the Jawas have breakfast.
Immediately
So
cut it
gross.
open and start dipping their hands in. I mean, I don't know.
I wish they cut to a scene where they just made a giant omelet.
It was
There's
sort of
just one Jawa that's like.
I mean, it just
like
showed
them
how
cooked.
like pieces of crap the Jawas are, that they're just spooning it with their hands.
like, we'll either take your fancy armor or this egg full of jelly.
Well, it's clearly difficult to get that egg. It must be amazing.
And the rhino only lays one of them.
It was
Right,
like Willy
yeah.
Wonka. It reminded me of that when they like cut the egg open. There's
The
like
scene
goop
in Willy
there.
Wonka when there's a giant fuzzy egg. Yeah, I know what you're talking
No,
about.
there's eggs in the full of goop.
It reminded me a lot of like Winnie the Pooh eating honey.
Yeah.
I was like, is that a honey
Yeah, you're right.
filled
It
egg?
was exactly like that with like
Yeah.
the strands of Ugh. That was gross. I don't like the Jawas personally, but I appreciate that kind
Because of
backstory.
what they've done to you.
I was really hoping though the next cut would be the Jawas building the damn spaceship.
Yeah.
But then it was
Yeah.
interesting that they're like, this is going to be a lot of work.
Not if you help, you fucking asshole.
And then it was done in 5 minutes.
I paraphrased. No, there was a montage. They montaged it.
I know.
I didn't like that they montaged it though with like little clips of sleepy baby Yoda.
Oh,
Like,
still
oh,
sleeping.
Would have been nice if
sleeping,
they were
by
like,
the
we'll
way.
never be able to lift this. Like, come on, help us. You lifted the rhino.
yeah.
Come on, do the thing.
I like it when they're going back and Nick Nolte's character is like, can you explain it again? Because I
Yes.
don't get it. And the Mandalorian's like, neither do I.
Yeah, that was
I really
cool.
like that.
They weren't like, oh, he's a Jedi or it's the Force. Like, they must know if Nick Nolte's Kuiil, big people,
Kuiil?
the Ugnaught, he's like, I read about the Mandalorian. I know the
He's got to
stories.
know about the Jedi. It's only 5 years
Why
after
wouldn't
the
you
Empire.
know about the Jedi, you know?
Yeah, at least in a legendary sense. Like,
Right.
by the time Luke is becoming a Jedi.
He knows about them and, you know,
Right.
everybody knows.
They rebuild the ship.
Dialogue was good.
Yeah. And the Mandalorian's trying to convince Nick Nolte's character to go with him.
I was really hoping he would come along.
I think he might. I think there might be a going back there and
Like there's
Some
more
more stuff
information
to
on
do.
that planet.
and
You're back.
the spaceship takes off. I really expected it to lift up like 20 feet and then crash. back down to the earth. But it did not.
I was waiting for like a cliffhanger kind of ending, and I was like, what's it going to be? You know, like there's not really much. I thought it was going to end on Yoda having the Force because I was like, that's classic, like lazy TV writing. Like,
Yeah.
write one good scene, end it right after that.
Right.
And they didn't. They kept going. I was like, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. And he gets into space and he shakes the cradle and Baby Yoda doesn't wake up and then he does.
And then that was
And then it ended.
That was an odd ending for me.
But I don't think so. Let's get into it. Fan theories. I don't think he's taking him back. I don't think he's
Where else
taking
would he go?
Baby Yoda.
somebody else that knows stuff.
Yeah, the Mandalorian could pretty much go anywhere from here, but I think maybe he'll try to get it somewhere safe. I think they have a connection. I think they do have a connection. And even if it's all depends on what they know. Do they know that the Empire betrayed the Jedi, or do they know the Empire was hunting Force sensitives?
So he
You know,
hides the baby somewhere, and then he's like, I have it. What else is going on here? Or like, I want double.
Yeah.
Something, you know? He's
something
gonna,
like that. Or he's like, I have it. You want him? You're never going to get him. Or I don't know. Maybe the baby will stay with them. That would be a fun thing. I think if they keep it with them and he just amasses a crew
Yeah.
and they're going, like they still pick up bounty hunting jobs, but they have to protect.
I think he's
Oh,
done
that's another thing I
hunting
wanted
now,
to talk
man.
about. Damn, we skipped it. They get attacked in the canyon by other
Bosk's race or whatever.
and I
Other
thought it
people
was
want the
Bosk,
baby.
but then it wasn't. But they also had the tracker,
Right.
So like, there's multiple bounties on this baby, whether from.
How do these bounties work? That's so dumb.
But do we think it's from Werner Herzog, or do we think multiple people are
want it,
trying to
because we
get
haven't
this?
met John Carlo Esposito's character,
Who's
guy
Juan
from
Carlos?
Revolution, Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah. Right.
he's there at some point.
Yeah.
But not in it yet. You know, Bill Burr's character.
I
whatever.
think Bill Burr is going to be a bounty hunter after.
But there's other
the-
bad guys that they've shown in trailers that haven't shown up yet.
Yeah.
So somebody else is going to be on his tail.
There's obviously other bounty hunters like IG-11 after this bounty, but are they all coming from the same place? Like Werner Herzog has set it up so that no matter who wins, he'll get he'll get the baby, or if there's just different people. Also, why? Okay, here's the main question: why does what's left of the Empire? Why does that scientist want this baby Yoda?
To build a Death Star, obviously.
Anybody else have any theories?
To study the Force.
Yeah, I think it's either to study the Force because they're a Force-sensitive race, or to study the way they age.
Could be like the only one, you know, maybe there's only like a couple at a time.
Yeah.
And like, this is very important. Because the scientist was like, no, don't kill it.
Yeah.
Don't kill it.
I want to know where it came from. Like, that's another thing. I thought Yoda was the last of his kind. I thought it was said somewhere, whether it was dialogue or I read it somewhere, that Yoda was the last.
Well, if it's 50 years, he's been around.
Yeah. Another thing is like, well, when Yoda's species die, do the life force go into another being? But I don't think the timeline.
Unless
the timeline
time works
definitely doesn't
differently.
add up unless time works differently for them. Yeah. Do we maybe it's Emperor related?
No.
No, you don't think so?
I was kind of hoping it would be like Rey in the basket or something, honestly. Because then I was like, that would tie in.
I think they can
And
still
then you
tie
could
it in.
Emperor relate it.
I'm
If you're
very-
like, this is the Emperor's baby.
I'm very
Hello?
yeah. Yep.
But then you wouldn't get a cute little plushy toy out of it.
I would buy a Funko of Baby Yoda tomorrow. I'd
Baby,
buy it right
baby
now.
Rey.
No.
No, Baby Yoda.
She got a cute little baby staff.
I really would love this to tie in, actually. Like, if the season of Mandalorian ends right before The Rise of Skywalker and it ties in somehow, I would love that.
I don't think, not to Skywalker, but to Force Awakens or whatever. Because
Well, I don't mean
time
time-wise tie-in, but like someone or something about it shows up in the movie. I would love that. That's my theory of why they need the Baby Yoda. Maybe it's something Emperor related, but it's to study the aging, maybe the Force use. What do you guys think? Also, any theories? Also, how do we feel at the end of episode 2? All around the room.
I mean, I feel like the reason why they want him is more sinister than we want to learn about this thing. They want like an extremely powerful being before it grows up.
They're all about destruction.
Yeah. They're going to like take it and train it and have this.
Clone it.
Yeah. Clone it.
Maybe Rey is the clone of Baby Yoda.
Oh my God. I don't have any theories, man. Because like they could go so many different ways. He either turns the bounty in, or he keeps the bounty for himself, or, you know, like he could turn the bounty in and just the plot totally changes.
I would not enjoy that. I want them
obviously
to
not,
take this
yeah.
opportunity to expand that canon, or not even expand it, introduce that canon, because it's never
Right.
been That's
That's
done
why you
before.
can't predict it, because you're like, where are they pulling from? I don't know. So
Right.
where are they going? I don't know. Have no idea. I just want to see the next one.
Yep.
I also hope they like get longer. This one was even shorter than the first one. Quit that.
Yeah, I think maybe
Quit
they'll-
it.
I think they might all be half-an-hour episodes going forward.
I mean,
the
I guess
pilots,
it's
the
probably
pilots a
easier
little
to
bit longer.
produce.
Thoughts?
I like that they're only about half an hour because I don't have the patience to sit through. Like, unless you're going to make it into a movie, don't make it over half an hour long because I don't want to have to commit an hour of time to watching something. Like, we watch shows on Netflix and we're like, nice, it was only like 25 minutes. And you can watch, if they were to release multiple at a time, or if you're like, I want to watch the last one, catch up, and watch the new one, you can do that. And it's going to take less than an hour. So I'm a big fan of that.
No, it's nice that you could just watch it, but I don't want it to be over.
Yeah, me neither.
Like, oh, there's going to be 8 and they're half an hour each, so it's 4 hours. It's just like 2 movies, you know? It's like not a lot. Even if it's great, then that's great. I guess that's what we should be thankful for, rather than it being an hour long and trash.
Yeah.
Very thankful that it's great. I think it's great.
TBD.
I think it's great also. Joey just pointed at me with the lightsaber.
Do you have anything else to say?
I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah.
I like Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
It's cute.
He'd walk around in a little Jedi-looking robe. He ate a frog.
Oh, yeah, that was funny. Spit that out.
That out.
Well, it's funny that he's supposed to be 50 years old and he can use the Force really well already, but he's also
Still a
like a
kid.
toddler where he's like,
Can't speak.
I eat you?
Yeah.
Snack?
Yeah.
And they're yelling at him to stop eating everything that he sees on the ground.
So that's a really interesting point that this species might learn their connection with the Force and how to use it before they learn anything else. Maybe that's why they talk so weird. Like that could be a developmental thing where they get in touch with the Force and sort of everything else
Makes sense.
is secondary.
Yeah, because he doesn't talk yet at all either.
He's
He just
50 years old and he doesn't talk.
He makes like baby noises.
Yeah,
Right.
and people have trouble like Luke meets him and he's like, "What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Take me to Yoda." And he's like, "Oh, great warrior."
Yeah. Which I thought,
Just tell me what I need to know, you jerk.
I think I've said this before, maybe not on the podcast, but when we first meet Yoda on Dagobah and he talks like that, and we learn a little bit more about him, I'm like, all right, so he's been on this planet for 30 years alone, and he talks like this because he's gone crazy.
Right.
And then in Phantom Menace, no, he just talks like that.
Yeah, no, if you're talking about expanding canon, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like it takes he learns the Force before he learns to talk.
Yeah.
And he values like this connection with the universe more than communicating with a language. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Wars not make one great.
I really like The Mandalorian. Keep checking in here at Krypton to Alderaan for Mandalorian updates. We'll have 2 more episodes next time we record. So,
Yeah, I think
will he return Baby? Will he turn Baby Yoda in? Will he not turn Baby Yoda in? Those are the 2 options.
that's it. He gets the steal one way or another.
Yep. Gina Carano's got to show up. He's got to build a crew. I think IG-11 might join his crew.
Yeah, I'm surprised that like he didn't get Nick Nolte's character all on board because you would think like now if he's going to save this Yoda,
Yeah.
and that Nick Nolte character has like a good heart, you know?
Right.
So
Yeah. I don't think his character's over, but we'll see. Who knows? We'll see on Friday. Anyway, is that it? Is that
so.
it on The Mandalorian?
yeah,
Okay. What's the next part of this show?
I don't know.
What do we do? Secret question time?
Secret question
Surprise
time.
question time?
Surprise question time.
I had a good one, but I'm going to scrap that. And I'm going to go with the question.
bad one.
I'm going to go with the question that I asked at the beginning of the episode and then told everybody not to answer. What color do you think your lightsaber would be? Picture
Is this where we're
this.
going?
Picture this. You're a little Jedi youngling and you get far enough in your training to where they take you to a Jedi temple to find your kyber crystal and you're put through a trial and then you pick it out of the wall and you build a lightsaber. What color is your lightsaber
Wait, you
blade?
pick the color though? I thought it like the color.
No, the crystal is the crystal defines the color, but you
choose your
it
kyber
knows
crystal.
the kyber crystal calls you. So what color do you think would call to you?
So do different colors mean different things or it's a color?
That's a really good question. They probably do, but I do not know.
Okay.
But like to get a red lightsaber, you have to like bleed the
You gotta
lightsaber.
you gotta break the crystal. So it's really interesting did you read that Darth Vader comic?
Not yet. It'll be my thing next week.
I think it might be in that where the Emperor sends Vader to make his lightsaber and you have to steal the lightsaber and then break the crystal.
Yeah.
You have to like overpower the crystal. And it's very interesting process.
Okay.
But there's no red kyber crystal. There's no kyber crystal that will give you a red
Yeah.
lightsaber.
Mine's blue. Do I have to have a reason? I
No.
just like blue.
This isn't like what Gryffindor or what Hogwarts house would you be.
I
You
was
don't have to have a
wondering
reason.
if this is like a wand chooses the wizard situation.
But it does. The kyber crystal chooses the Jedi and then it tests you to get it.
Mine would be green.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna say green because like Luke has the blue one in A New Hope, and it's like Anakin's or whatever. But then he gets the green one because like he loses Anakin's one or whatever happens.
Gets
to that.
his hand chopped off.
Yeah, that goes flying, and somehow Maz Kanata gets it.
Yeah.
But then he gets the green one, and that one like looks really badass. Like
Yeah.
it seemed like an upgrade to go from like blue to green. That like that's like you get your permit lightsaber, and then you get your full. You can lightsaber after 9 edition, and that's the green one.
Why?
And then Mace Windu's purple one, that's like you can drive like semis and stuff, you know.
But you get your CDL for lightsabers.
Why have you done this? Why did you do this?
It just seems like the color should denote more than like this one called to me. Like it's not a pair of shoes.
All right. See, because you haven't watched this episode,
No,
it's
I
very
don't-
good.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
enough
very
yet.
meaningful.
I don't know enough. I'm sure it's very meaningful, but you asked us this arbitrary question, and I think green. It's specifically in return. His lightsaber just looks like more powerful, probably because of the production and whatnot. But it just seems like that
Also,
was
he's
an
wearing that black robe
upgrade.
and stuff.
Dude, when he fights Vader in Empire, like he sucks with a lightsaber. And that's
Because
his
he's a
blue
little
one.
bitty baby.
That's his blue one.
Supposedly, he's gone back to Dagobah in between then, right? And trained
Wouldn't
more.
Darth Vader be like, yo, that's my freaking lightsaber?
Give it back. No, because Anakin Skywalker is dead.
He would totally recognize his own lightsaber.
Yeah, but he doesn't want it. It's like belonged to a Jedi, and the Jedi are dead.
What about you, Joey? What color is your lightsaber?
I think blue. I mean, I would love to go with yellow or something like that, which they exist, but it's not like mainstream, right? So it's probably blue. What color is going to be tattooed on me when I get my Jedi symbol of the Jedi Order tattoo?
Yeah.
I haven't decided. It's going to be a like watercolor splash on the lightsaber, but it
I
might
like
be
that
yellow.
You just asked yourself that question.
The yellow
be yellow.
lightsaber seems more like what it would be.
Yeah, if you were driving a school bus.
Until they came out with the
It's your
LED
tricycle.
lightsabers.
The little tricycle, the yellow one's what you get for driving a tricycle.
Yeah, until you can drive an 18-wheeler, then you get the purple one.
Yeah.
I'm editing this part out.
Such a good driver, got thrown out a window. Anyway, is that the end of the show?
That's the end. Goodbye.
I was trying to think of another lightsaber driving joke.
Oh, here's something
Got an
I meant to bring
LUI.
up during during the Mandalorian talk. There's a dark saber. Has anyone seen? Are you familiar with the dark saber at all?
Black lightsaber?
It's like a black lightsaber, but it's in the shape of like a sword, like a blade.
That's weird.
And so it's
Light
a
can't be
Mandalorian saber, and it like whoever has it is the leader of the Mandalorians, essentially.
right.
And for a while, Darth Maul had it, and it's been like passed down from Mandalorian to Mandalorian. I would really be interested in that coming up, either in a flashback or in the
I
show.
think we're going to get more Mandalorian history. Why name it the Mandalorian if you're not going to explore his history?
It's in Rogue One, so it still exists.
The dark saber?
Yeah, it's like,
When they're looking through the files?
yeah. So it's there. So it hasn't been like destroyed before then. But anyway, I'd be really interested in that coming back up. It's also in Rebels. So yeah, so it's in Rebels, so it exists.
It counts.
Anyway, that's the end of the show. You want to bring us home? Do your thing? Is that what we do now?
I guess. Yeah, we traded off. Yeah.
No, you do it. I was asking if woo was the thing that we do now. That's the end of the show. Woo!
Yeah, you got to keep the energy up.
Ah!
Yeah.
Anyway,
if you listen this far, thanks. If you're enjoying the show, let us know on Twitter at Krypton Alderaan or send us an email at krypton2alderaan@gmail.com and leave us a review on Spotify or iTunes or Twitcher or Stitcher or whatever it is. Whatever
yes,
it is.
please get in touch with us one way or another if you are enjoying it or if you're not enjoying it. Either way, leave us a review. It would really help us. I've been Joey.
I've been Royce.
I've been Robin.
I've been Lorelei.
And we've been
Krypton to Alderaan. What did you say?
Alderaan.
No one spelled Alderaan.
Oh, AAN. ALDERAAN.